All right, the Monday night game, Patriots at the Jets. The line opened up Patriots -7. It's still 7 in some sports books. It's creeped up to 7.5 in others. So who do you like in this game?
I like the Patriots. It did feel weird for a second when I was like, do I like the Patriots as 7-point favorites against the Jets? And then I was like, well, of course I do. In the past, if we saw this number, it would be an absolute no-brainer. But given what we've seen from them lately, it's fair to at least be like, we have to question it a little bit. But I think we saw the Patriots start playing better last week a little bit. If not for a Cam Newton turnover in the last second of the game, we would have probably seen that game go to overtime. If not, the Patriots could have scored a game-winning touchdown there. I think Bill Belichick's going to be really mad about people repeatedly asking if the team is tanking or why they're not playing well, because basically he's been like, yeah, of course we're not as good as we were last year. We sold out repeatedly to win titles. And now, we went with Cam Newton, and yeah, we have some holes, but we're not trying to lose. So he's going to see this game on schedule and be like, all right, we're absolutely just going to try to crush the Jets. And that'll shut everyone up from saying all this stuff. And, the Jets are a mess. They're terrible. Let's not overlook that. They're 0-8. They're en route to being 0-16, barring, they might win one game, but I don't see how they would do it. I'm sure it's possible, but I just can't fathom it right now. They have 67 total yards of offense in the second half of their last 2 games combined. So that's an average of 33.5 yards after halftime per game, which is just so ridiculously bad. And then on top of all this, Sam Darnold is dealing with the shoulder injury, and their coach is a complete lame duck who will not be back next year unless the owners of the Jets are being blackmailed insanely by him. So there's really no reason to like the Jets in this one. Hypothetically, you could say this is their Super Bowl. They might see a chance to beat the Patriots. But also Adam Gase is coaching, so they're not going to play hard for him. So I'm going to be all over the Patriots here. I got them down for 3 units right now at 7. I just can't imagine a scenario where the Patriots don't come in here and beat the Jets pretty handily.
Yeah, I feel the same way. If Cam Newton didn't fumble and the Patriots won that game, they're in the red zone, they could have won. And they were 3-4, and they were okay, they can get to 4, they can get to 500 here. I think this line would be a lot higher. It'd be closer to 10. It wouldn't be 7. I think 7's kind of a gift, and I like the Patriots a lot. It's funny that we talked about you mentioned that the Cowboys are 0-8 against the spread. The Jets are 1-7 against the spread. Their only cover was against the Bills. Remember the Bills won 18-10 because of 6 field goals. They just couldn't get into the end zone. I think it's hilarious that the Jets only cover. They were outgained 422 to 190, and that 8-point margin would be good enough to cover this spread. The Patriots and the Bills played evenly last week. So it's if the Patriots can play, if the Patriots are equal to the Bills, with Cam Newton healthy, why can't they beat the Jets by more than 7 if they don't commit all these red zone miscues that the Bills had? It should be an easy win for them, I think. And, the motivational thing with Belichick, I think is legit, if someone wants to make the argument that this is the Jets Super Bowl and they're actually going to play hard for the first time, I think that only applies if the other team is not going to play hard. Last week, the Vikings, that was their Super Bowl against the Packers, but the Packers weren't playing hard because they had the Thursday night game coming up. But here, the Patriots are going to play hard because if they lose, they go to 2-6 and they're definitely done. If they win, they're 3-5. And they still have a chance, with 3 wildcard teams. At 3-5, I still think you have a chance to get into the playoffs. So, this is going to be so much motivation for the Patriots. And, on top of that, you brought up the Darnold injury. So he's either going to be hurt or they're going to go with Joe Flacco. And so either way, I think that really benefits the Patriots. So, yeah, this is going to be a big play for me on New England.
Yeah, I can't imagine a scenario where I won't have a big play on this one. And I just always think back to, there was once a Monday night game against the Jets when they were good. It was a Patriots-Jets game, and I was in high school at the time, so everyone was hyping it up. It was when Rex Ryan was the coach. It was oh, this is going to be a big game for the Patriots. They got to beat the Jets. And I think I was oh yeah, this might end up being close. The Jets have a great defense. And I think the Patriots won 42-0. Belichick shows up in prime time, and when he needs to when the Patriots need a win, he knows how to get it, especially against lesser competition. And I just think that their whole season hinges on a win against the Jets. They should be able to get it.
Yeah, and that Jets team was a lot better than this one. That
Yeah.
Under Rex Ryan, they actually had a good defense. Like, granted, Mark Sanchez was the quarterback, but they had a real good defense, and they went to 2 AFC championships. So Rex Ryan did have some success early on. It did not end well for him, but he did do well like at first with the Jets. So there are a couple of things here. So we like to do our teaser pick at the end of the week. At the end of the episode. So last week we both had the Chiefs. If it weren't for the Colts losing to the Jaguars in week 1, which is just I still can't believe that happened. Given how we've seen these teams play since, we should still be alive. We're not, but we're doing this, to help people who are still alive. So, do you have any idea who your survivor pick would be this week?
I would imagine I would use the Patriots if I haven't already, and I don't think that I have. So Patriots are probably the one I would go with. Other good options are the Steelers against the Cowboys. I think those are probably going to be your 2 best bets. If you want to go contrarian, I think Texans are the best way to do it this week, because I think if people have Pittsburgh or New England left, they're going to use them. But this is a great time to use the Texans because I don't think they're going to have an easier matchup on their schedule, and I don't think a ton of people are going to use them.
Yeah, I think the Texans are a solid pick, and so are the Patriots. But I'm going to go with the Steelers. I don't see them losing to Garrett Gilbert. His 13.5-point favorites, even on the road. Like, I'm not a big fan of taking road teams, but the Steelers are not going to lose to Garrett Gilbert at all. I like the Steelers here. And plus, the Patriots play the Jets again later in the year, so you can just take them then. So that's my thinking behind that. So I like the Steelers. And we were asked last week to do a teaser. I didn't do a teaser. I didn't like any sides last week for a teaser. I didn't even post one on the site. I thought the only good teaser play was the Raiders, getting them from 2.5 to 8.5. But I didn't see any other team to link them with. But here there are some options this week. I think that I feel like the Bills are, you can get them up from 2.5 to 8.5. I think that's a good one. And then the Colts, you can get them from 2.5 to 8.5. So what I like to do with teasers is to pick a team from 1.5 to 2.5 and put them up 6 points, because that way you go through 3, 6, and 7. And that's the only way mathematically that it's advantageous to do a teaser. So even though I like the Seahawks to cover against the Bills, I think the Bills can stay within 9 points. So my teaser would be Bills plus 8.5, and then the Colts plus 8.5.
Yeah, I would probably do Colts plus 8.5. I think that one would definitely be one that I would do. And I might throw the Steelers into a teaser pick. I know you're not going through a ton of key numbers, but if you drop that down to 7.5, I think that the Steelers easily win by double digits in that game. So I think it's worth it. If you're talking mathematical percentages, it may not be the most efficient pick, but I think the Colts can easily cover against the Ravens at that number, and the Steelers should have, if they're going to have no problem covering 13.5, they should have no problem covering 7.5. Yeah,
that's for sure. You know what? I'm looking at this. I think actually I would go Colts plus 8.5 and Patriots minus 1.5. I think that's the best way to do a teaser. So I think that's what I'm going to do this week, unless the lines move radically. So I might just put that in tomorrow. So yeah, I guess that's it. Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Kamiker. I tweet out my picks every week, my most confident ones in every primetime game. That's what I do. And you can follow at SN Fantasy. That's Sporting News Fantasy on Twitter. I tweet out highlights of the game, links to articles and stuff. And you can check out sportingnews.com/fantasy for rankings, DFS lineups, pick advice, anything that you could imagine needing over there. And yeah, just follow me and let's talk some football. Let's have fun for the rest of the season.
Sounds good. I'm at walterfootball.com. We have our 2021 NFL mock draft updated tomorrow morning, so check that out. Updated NFL pick info as the week progresses. You know, there are lots of injury updates throughout the week, and that changes a lot, especially on Saturday, as I always say. So definitely check back for that. Charlie has a ton of NFL draft content for you to look at. Fantasy rankings. If your fantasy team's still doing well, you can look to see who you can start this week. And as I tweeted out in the weekend when DJ Uiagalelei, if I just said that correctly, the Clemson quarterback who played for Trevor Lawrence, he's in our 2023 NFL mock draft. So we even have that. So tons of content at walterfootball.com. And once again, please hit subscribe or a notification bell, like button, all that stuff. That would mean a lot to us. It really would. Otherwise, that is it for this week. And I will talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good. Talk to you then.